Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at NECA's new Pennywise figure from the movie It. This is the new version, obviously, and you're probably wondering, what the heck am I doing reviewing it? I don't review horror figures, and you're right, I don't, because I don't particularly care for horror movies. I find them dull. But that's not to say you shouldn't. You can like it, lots of people do, and that's fine. It's just not my personal thing. Anyway, they sent it to me on accident. So when I told them, hey, I got this figure on accident, they said, well, if you want to review it, go ahead and keep it. So that's what I'm doing. I figure a lot of you might like to see the review, so here it is. This figure does a lot of things really nicely, as is usual for NECA. A couple things are a little questionable, but overall it's a solid figure, so let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. And this guy stands just about 7 3/4 inches tall, which makes him just about 19 centimeters, pretty close to that. And it's overall pretty aesthetically pleasing. They did a nice job with the color gray, I think. Could have easily been really dark and kind of just grungy looking, but it's not, and I think that's appropriate, so that's pretty good. You do have a decent paint job throughout with the kind of beige color with the red, so the little pom-poms here and the line work and the ruffles and things, pretty nice. The shoes are painted very cleanly, so that's good. And then the face, and we'll look at some more faces here in a minute. Very nicely detailed, good sculpt, good paint, good shading throughout the hair and everything. Very pleased with it overall. If you're wondering why this is like this, it's offset. That's how it is in the movie. It does drive me nuts looking at it and not seeing them in a straight line, but that is how it is in the movie, so I cannot complain about that. Sculpt work on this is really nice. All the clothing looks really good. Lots of wrinkles. Not easy to sculpt a lot of wrinkles and make it look good, but they did, and that's nice. So overall, the aesthetics on this figure, I'm gonna give it, let's say, 8.5 out of 10. Nope, 9 out of 10. I like the aesthetics on this one a whole lot. The only reason I'm knocking it a point, because I don't remember it looking like this in the movie, is that the gray part has almost kind of like a pearly quality to it. It has just the tiniest bit of luster, and I think it's probably just the plastic that's being used, but it does stand out to me, and I don't think it was like that in the movie. If I'm wrong, then just ignore me completely, but I don't think that's the case. I did watch the movie, by the way. It just when it came out, and it was a while ago. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about the accessories. We have 4 different heads. We have the big smiling head, which comes on him in the package. We have the one with the girl hair where he's making a weird face. That's uncomfortable to look at. And then we have the one where he's stretching his mouth open and his eyes are rolling back. And then we have the one with the hole in it to put the fire poker thingy in there. And you can, of course, remove the fire poker. In fact, you have to put it in there yourself. So that's very nicely done. That's all very cool. We have 2 wide open hands which come on him in the package. 2 kind of gripping hands, which I'm not sure what they're for. And then 1 hand where it's mutating into the claw hand, which would probably go with the poker head if I remember correctly. So not a bad batch of accessories, not a ton, but definitely enough. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I don't know what else you would really need for this guy, so that's pretty good. As far as the articulation goes, the head, I can just pop it off and show you, is on a straight peg with a ball peg. And then the neck itself is on a ball peg as well. So the heads maybe swap out a little bit too easily. As you're posing them, you can kind of dislocate them a little bit, but that's not really a problem. It's not like they're floppy or anything, so that's fine. And you can move them around really nicely, but as you can see, you do get some gapping as that happens just because of that loose peg. So be aware of that, but otherwise I think you're going to be okay. You should be able to move them around just fine, and this is a very soft floaty piece, so it won't really get in the way too much. Other than that, it does actually physically take up some space. For the shoulders, we have a pretty standard joint despite what you may expect based on the sculpt. You have your swivel hinge, which raises the arm up almost horizontally. And then, of course, you can rotate it. But underneath the poof, you have a bicep swivel, which is nice. Then you have a double jointed elbow, one at the top, one at the bottom, and those do rotate as well. If you need extra rotation, you have it, but you get pretty good range out of that, and it's nice looking, so I like that a whole bunch. For the wrists, you have a hinge and a swivel where the hand pegs on. I cannot figure out that there is a swivel on the other side of that like a ball hinge. It looks to me like it's completely molded on, and even when I remove the cuffs, I can't find a swivel in there, so I guess that's all there is. For the diaphragm joint, there isn't one. For the ab joint, there isn't one. It's just this waist swivel. I think it's technically a ball peg, but it just wants to rotate. For this part, it's a relatively soft material, but it's very thick, and it's not going to flex very much. The hips are ball hinges, but we do have this syndrome again, which I guess is just going to happen forever and ever. Once you separate them, it's okay, but if there's any play to have, it is there. They do go out to the side pretty nicely considering how poofy his skirt thingy is. Going forward and back, well, I mean, that's not bad. It's not like he's running around doing high kicks or anything, so I guess that's okay. That'll be fine. You do get a thigh swivel in there, double jointed knee. I cannot get the top joint to work, but the knee does rotate at the bottom and at the top if you want it to. It's the same type of joint as the elbow. And there, that one works. So you get really good range out of that, so that's pretty nice. Good looking knees. And then for the ankle, you get a hinge, which goes forward and back. It goes all the way back. Going forward is a little tricky. You kind of have to wiggle it over the plastic, but it goes pretty far forward. That's pretty nice range. And then you do have the swivel in there, but it's at such a steep angle it's almost worthless. So that's a bummer. They Hasbro'd that ankle and no rotation under the cuff there. So definitely a pretty decent batch of articulation. I think it could be a little better here and there, but all in all, given the crazy costume, it is not too bad at all. So for the articulation, I'm going to give it a, because of the ankle being somewhat goofy and the hips still having that floppy thing, 7 out of 10. And the torso not having really any lean or anything, 7 out of 10. So yeah, that sounds about right. Okay, time for the final thoughts on this figure. Aesthetically speaking, it's very good. That's probably the most important part about this guy because it's not going to be in any crazy poses, really. That's not the nature of the character, so that's a good thing. It does have a decent array of accessories, including 4 heads, which is a lot, and they're all painted very nicely. And yes, I did accentuate the word 4 because his head is very big from the brow up. Anyway, I think the final verdict on this guy is going to be 8 out of 10 because it is exactly what it needs to be for what the character is. If it was a ninja character, I would want to have better articulation and weigh that more heavily, but it's not. So I think it's fine. Are you going to be able to do every single pose with him? No, but I think you're going to be able to get enough done that it is more than satisfactory. So that's a fair rating and I do recommend it. So there you go, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you come back to the channel though, because I have thousands of reviews on it already and I have new videos coming out just about every single day. Sometimes I skip Wednesday, but that's lots of content for you to enjoy. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.